I've had so many students ask me about this over the years. You know, you can learn Little Wing, Castles Made of Sand, Angel, numerous beautiful Hendrix songs that utilize this chord vocabulary. But just learning it verbatim like that doesn't really tell you where it comes from. And that's where this lesson comes in. I'll explain it and keep it as simple as possible. And a lot of you probably already know this stuff, but for those of you who don't, it can be a lot of fun and really interesting. So it all comes down to the use of certain inversions as well as just knowing how to play the scales inside the chord that you happen to be on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with major chords first, and then we'll switch to minor chords, okay? So let's say we have a C major bar chord right at the 3rd fret, and I'm playing that off of the 5th string, so it's 3, 5, 5, 5. And the notes in the chord are C, G, C, and E. Okay, so what we want to do with this chord first off is invert it. So we're going to play that part of the chord with our first finger instead. And we're going to double up the E an octave lower at the 7th fret. So now we have a cool inverted chord. And what you want to do is actually bar across all 5 strings, okay? Now, once you've got that, you can kind of hear that Hendrix sound start to happen right away. But the cool thing about inverting the chord is now you've got access to the scale right there underneath your fingers. So you can play around with that. You can literally play around with the scale within the chord shape that you're holding. And you're just messing about with the scale, kind of improvising around a little bit. So that's how to do it off of a major chord from the 5th string, okay? So let's talk about how you manipulate a scale when you're playing a major chord off of the 6th string. So let's say we have a G major chord now off of the 6th string. You can apply the same idea, adding scale tones to the chord shape that you have. So for this one, I'm pulling my pinky down to the 1st string at the 5th fret. You can put it on and take it off, do the same thing on the next string, and the same thing on the next string. Whoa, a little cloud cover hovering. And you'll notice with all of these examples that I'm letting other strings ring through. You want that. You want to let the notes of the chord come through while you're playing these little licks. And it's no different on the G chord. You know, just let other notes come through while you're doing whatever it is you're doing. So once again, off of the 5th string with a major chord, we move to the inversion. And then off of the 6th string, and you can use that on any major chord shape. And it's just kind of cool and sweet sounding, okay? So let's talk about how you apply the same concept to minor chords. So we'll take the same approach here, okay? We'll start by playing minor chords off of the 5th string. So for instance, here's a D minor chord. So the first thing we want to do is free up that pinky so it actually becomes a minor 7th, which sounds even sweeter. And so for this one, you notice it's exactly the same as the pentatonic scale we used earlier. So you just kind of mess with it within the chord, right? sound pretty cool because the scale is right there under the chord. So when playing minor chords off of the 6th string, we take the exact same approach. We free up the pinky, and that way we can utilize the scale. And so you can see that combination of major and minor chords is really cool. So if you had a progression like D minor, C, B flat, you'd have the minor manipulation and then the major. Maybe come up to A minor or something like that. And you can just mess about with it, like I keep saying, just learn how to improvise a little bit. And there's a lot more to it than this. I'm just scratching the surface in this brief lesson, but it'll get you started and kind of give you an understanding of where this stuff comes from. Believe me, Jimi had a lot more stuff up his sleeve when it came to chords and otherwise, of course. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this impromptu lesson. My apologies for the lighting. I use natural light in my studio, but I don't usually shoot this late in the day. So there you go. Anyway, we'll see you guys soon. Take care.